Hey everybody, welcome back to the War Boss Fitch channel, and today we are going to be talking about the Plague Disciples for the Havoc Brothers in Grimdark Future. So now this is another army in Grimdark Future that OPR has not made models for. So we are going to go to Mezgeik, and I am going to show off the Dredge, which are his version of Plague Brothers Death Guard, just Marines that have been underwater for far too long. He doesn't have options for everything available, so for the few holes that there are, I'm going to be adding in Games Workshop models. So first thing we are going to do is look at the special rules. Here are the special rules for the army. The big ones we have are Putrid. Everything in the army has this. When taking a wound, roll 1 die. On a 6+, it is ignored. It's an extra layer of save for everything in the army. Another level of save would be the Blessing of Plague. This model and its unit get regeneration. Regeneration is pretty much the same thing. When you take a wound, roll a die. On a 5+, it is ignored, but there are some weapons and rules that ignore that. And then Undead. Whenever a unit where most models have this rule fails morale test that causes it to be shaken or routed, the test counts as passed instead. Then roll as many dice as the number of wounds it would take to fully destroy it, and for each result of 1 to 3, the unit takes 1 wound which can't be ignored. This is going to be on one of the excellent chaff units of the army. So everything else, we'll talk about it as we run into it when we look at the units. Now we move down here to the spells. We don't talk about the offensive spells, we talk about the buffs and the debuffs, because the offensive spells just do what they say. Blessed Virus. 1. Target 2 friendly units within 12. They get stealth next time they are shot at. For an army that has layered saves, reducing the enemy's ability to shoot you to begin with makes you even tankier. Putrefaction. Target 2 friendly units within 12. They get AP +1 next time they fight in melee. There is a lot of melee units in this army, and giving them an extra AP is always a plus. And Pestilence. 3. Target 2 enemy units within 18. They move a -3 next time they advance, or -6 next time they charge or rush. This is good to pin down a fast enemy unit or to dictate the flow of battle. So that's it for the spells. Let's hop right into the units. We're going to start at the top of the list with the heroes with the Plague Destroyer Champion. Quality 3, Defense 3, Ambush, Hero, Toughness 6, and Putrid. Now Ambush means that you can leave this model aside during deployment, and then anytime after the first turn, it can come down at the beginning of the turn, 9 inches away from enemy units. Comes equipped with a champion heavy rifle for 2 shots at 24 at AP1 and 4 attacks with a close combat weapon. Now these are the rules that will affect this model and whatever unit you attach it to. Apostle gives it War Chant, which gives the unit Furious, and if they already had Furious, it works on unmodified rolls of a 5 or 6 instead. Now Furious means whenever you charge into combat and you roll a 6, you get an extra hit. Plaguebringer for Ring the Bell. This model and its unit move +2 on advance and +4 on rush and charge, making some of the units that you have deceptively fast. Plague Lord for Blessing of Plague, giving this model and its unit regeneration. Warlock for Caster 2, which opens up the spell list that we talked about. Master Warlock for Caster 3 gives you the same spell list, but gives you more magical power to throw at it. Darksmith for Repair. When you're within 2 inches of one of your models with tough that's taken damage, on a 2-up, it heals D3 wounds. And Havoc Lord for Dark Tactics. Pick 1 friendly unit within 12, which they may move by up to 6, giving some added mobility to the rest of your army. You replace the heavy rifle and close combat weapon with a Great Plague Flail, 2 attacks, AP1, Blast 3 with Poison, Dual Energy Claws for 8 attacks with Rending, Twin Plague Sprayer for 2 shots, 12 inches, Blast 3, Poison, and Reliable, a Great Scythe for 2 attacks, AP4, Deadly 3, or Rapid Storm Rifle, 6 shots, AP1 at 24. If you take the heavy rifle, you can attach a plasma mod, shred mod, flamer mod, or a fusion mod. And you can replace the close combat weapon with an energy hammer, energy sword, energy axe, or energy fist. This is a heavy hitting character. Being toughness 6 with defense of 3, you can run this character on its own, especially if you give it caster 3 to just drop behind the enemy and start messing around with all kinds of spells, throwing plagues, and causing the enemy to start falling apart from the back. Next unit is the Chosen Plague Champion, quality 3, defense 3, chosen veteran, giving this model +1 to hit in melee and shooting, hero, toughness 3, and putrid. Comes with a flamer pistol, 1 shot 6 inches, blast 3 and reliable, and 2 attacks with a close combat weapon. Again, we have the same choices. We have War Chant, Ring the Bell, Blessing of Plague, Caster 2, Repair, Dark Tactics, and Caster 3. You can replace the flamer pistol and close combat weapon with dual energy claws for 4 rending attacks, or dual plague close combat weapons for 4 poison attacks. And poison means the enemy has to re-roll any 6s they make for an armor save, and it ignores regeneration. You can replace the flamer pistol with a heavy pistol, a plague sprayer, plasma pistol, heavy rifle, plasma rifle, or a storm rifle. You can put on any of the mod options if you switched out for a heavy rifle. You can replace the close combat weapon with a energy hammer, energy sword, plague sword, energy axe, energy fist, or a heavy scythe. And you can upgrade it with a jetpack for ambush and flying, or a combat bike for twin heavy rifles, 2 shots 24 AP1, an additional 3 toughness and fast. So this is a character that you are going to hook onto your Plague Disciple squads, giving them the equipment they need to synergize with whatever squad you put them in, and one of these options onto the squad. Plus, it's not a slouch in combat themselves, hitting on a quality of 2. Next unit is the Plague Champion, quality 3, defense 3, hero, toughness 3, and putrid. It is essentially the same character that we just looked at. The only difference is this one does not have chosen veteran, so it only hits on a quality of 3. The last character is the Plague Cultist Champion, quality 5, defense 5, hero, toughness 3, and putrid. Comes with a pistol for 2 shots at 12 and 2 attacks with a close combat weapon. You can upgrade it with War Chant and a Caster 2, but you can also make it an icon bearer, giving it Fear of 3. And what Fear means is you count as doing 3 more wounds when you check to see who won the melee, to see who has to take the morale test. You can replace the pistol with a Cursed Blade for 3 attacks, AP2, and rending. You can replace the pistol as well for a Champion Shred Pistol, Flamer Pistol, Rifle, Shotgun, or Sniper Rifle. And you can replace the close combat weapon with an energy sword. So, being your baby unit on the board, the best option here I think would be Psy Witch, giving it Caster 2, because its quality doesn't matter when it's going to throw spells. All that matters is those 2 caster points. And possibly, if you're running low on points, you can use this to put War Chant on a unit for only 45 points. Now we're going to move into the multi-modeled units. Our first one is Plague Zombies. You get 10 of them in the squad, quality 5, defense 6, putrid, slow, and undead. 2 attacks apiece with claws, and the unit has no upgrades. Now on their own, just because they are undead, they are a rather tough chaff unit the enemy needs to chew through. You're not going to be able to stun them, you're not going to be able to make them run away, but they do have the possibility of falling apart. The best way to counteract that is to take a Plague Champion and hook it into the squad. That way, whenever you take morale tests, you're doing it on the Plague Champion's quality of 3. And then other things you can do there is you can put on War Chant to give all of those Plague Zombies furious, or Ring the Bell to pretty much counteract that slow rule that they have. And another fine option is the Blessing of Plague to give all of those zombies not only putrid but regeneration, turning them into a big, hard to move brick, and in that case you can combine it for 21 models, putrid, regeneration, and undead, with a quality of 3 for the morale test. Next unit are the Plague Cultists, quality 5, defense 5, and they have putrid. There's 10 of them in the squad, and they all have rifles, one shot at 24, and one attack at close combat weapons. You can replace all the rifles and close combat weapons for pistols, one shot at 12, and 2 attacks with close combat weapons. You can replace up to 2 rifles with shotguns, plasma rifles, grenade launchers, shred rifles, machine guns, flamers, or sniper rifles. So this is another cheap chaff unit for the army. This is a ranged version. They don't have undead, so they're not going to have as much staying power. And putting a plague champion with them, none of these upgrades that they get for the units have much to do with ranged weapons, so it's not really a good choice to put those with the plague cultists. The best thing to do with these is keep them cheap, give them an upgraded weapon if you feel like you need it, but other than that, sit them on an objective just to hold while the rest of your army goes out and does its dirty work. Next unit are the Plague Brothers. 5 of them in the squad, quality 3, defense 3 with Putrid. They all have heavy rifles for one shot at AP 1 at 24 and one attack with close combat weapons. You can replace one heavy rifle and close combat weapon with a sergeant heavy pistol and sergeant hand weapon. You can replace the sergeant pistol with a plasma pistol and their hand weapon with an energy sword, plague sword, or energy fist. You can replace one heavy rifle in close combat in the squad with a plague flail for one attack, AP 1 blast 3 with poison. You can replace all the heavy rifles with dual plague close combat weapons for 2 attacks apiece with poison, or pistols and close combat weapons. You can also replace one heavy rifle with a flamer, shred rifle, plasma rifle, plague sprayer, fusion rifle, plague launcher, heavy machine gun, reaper cannon, missile launcher, laser cannon, and auto cannon. So this is the first squad that we've hit that is going to be one of your do work kind of squads. And they're a very versatile squad that can do many different things. You just have to kind of pick your direction when you're building the list. If you want a shooting squad, you could just replace one heavy rifle with, say, a plague sprayer if you want to get close, or a plasma rifle if you want to stay further away. You want to go close combat, do the sergeant upgrade, give the sergeant an energy fist, do a plague flail, and everyone else gets close combat weapons. And in this configuration, it might be worth putting on a plague champion and giving them ring the bell to give them fast, or blessing of plague to give them that extra layer of regeneration. There's also war chance if you want them to be furious to get extra hits on a 6 with all of their different poison weapons. Next unit is the Chosen Plague Brothers. There's only 3 of these in the squad. Quality 3, defense 3, chosen veterans, so they're going to be hitting on quality 2 and Putrid. Come with heavy rifles and close combat weapons. You can replace any heavy rifle with a heavy pistol and 2 attack close combat weapons, or dual energy claws for 4 attacks with rending. And then you can replace any heavy rifle with a flamer, plague sprayer, shred rifle, plasma rifle, fusion rifle, plague launcher, heavy machine gun, reaper cannon, missile launcher, laser cannon, or auto cannon. Any of them that kept their heavy rifles can put any of the mods on their weapons. One heavy rifle can be switched out for a plague flail. One heavy rifle can be switched out for sergeant options, and then the sergeant gets the plasma pistol and all the different close combat options. So again, a very versatile squad. It's going to be quality 2s, so it's going to be a little bit more reliable than your already reliable quality 3 you get in the Plague Brothers. They have the shooting options here to pretty much become a support squad that hits on a 2, or you can go for melee version where you take the same as before, sergeant with an energy fist. You could take the rest of them, turn them into dual energy claws to give them all rending. Then you do Chosen Plague Champion with the same options, War Chant, Ring the Bell, Blessing of Plague, or even Caster 2 and Caster 3. Again, a very versatile squad that, depending on which way you build it, is going to be good at the job that you make it for. Next unit are the Plague Support. Quality 3, Defense 3, Relentless, and Putrid. Relentless means if you use a hold action, unmodified rolls a 6 to hit, deal an extra hit. They come equipped with heavy flamers, one shot, AP 1, blast 3, and reliable at 12 inches. You can replace any of the heavy flamers with the heavy weapon options. We got plasma cannons, auto cannons, laser cannons, missile launchers, reaper cannons, heavy machine guns, heavy fusion rifles, plague launchers, or plague sprayers. There's so many different options here that all do different things. This is completely up to you. But with Relentless, you're going to want something that has a little bit longer range so that you can sit and just fire away. So you're probably going to want to look from the heavy machine gun down. Again, I like to say the autocannon is the best all-rounder heavy weapon in the game. 3 shots apiece at AP2. But if you need a little bit more output of shots, the Reaper Cannon, 4 shots at AP1 at 24. That's going to be what you go for. And then Plasma Cannons, 1 shot apiece, AP4 with blast of 3. That will just delete squads of enemies, even elite infantry. It is the most expensive option, but that's because it's worth it. Next unit are the Plague Destroyers. Quality 3, defense 3, ambush, toughness 3, and putrid. 3 of them in the squad. They all come with dual energy claws for 4 attacks apiece with rending. You can replace 1 of the dual energy claws with Great Plague Flails, 2 attacks, AP1 blast of 3 and poison. You can replace the dual energy claws with a rapid heavy rifle and a flamer mod, poison gauntlets and heavy scythes, storm rifles and close combat weapons. You can swap out that flamer mod with a shred plasma or a fusion mod. You can replace 1 storm rifle with a plague sprayer, heavy flamer, plague launcher, or a reaper cannon. And you can switch out any close combat weapon with an energy hammer, energy axe, energy sword, plague sword, or energy fist. Now, with the ambush rule, these are made to come in behind the enemy. And with that in mind, I definitely like to outfit destroyers with close combat weapons, just to make sure that whatever they touch, they're going to evaporate. Dual energy claws is an okay starting point, but if you want to go for heavier targets, the poison gauntlet with the heavy scythes, that's going to be the way to go. Aiming this at enemy units that have tough squads, like bikers, ogres, onis, battlesuits, these are going to really put a hurt on those. And then the only good champion to put with those is going to be the Plague Destroyer champion, giving them a great scythe. So those 4 models, you end up with 5 attacks at AP4 with deadly 3. And War Chant, that's a good option for them because any of 6s that you roll for those is going to be an extra hit. Ring the Bell, because you're ambushing, your unit count is going to be low enough. When you do ambush, you're probably going to get the first activation. So you're not going to need to be fast to get into combat as long as you activate your destroyers first. Blessing of Plague if you really want to add to the tankiness. And then a caster option is another great option just so you can get access to your spell list while the enemy is nice and close. Next unit are the Mutated Plague Cultists. 10 of them in the squad, quality 5, defense 6, mutations with putrid. Mutation means before you fight, roll a dice, and on a 1 to 3 you get rending, and on a 4 to 6 you get AP plus 1. They have claws for 2 attacks apiece. These are a faster version of zombies just without the undead. So everything I said for the zombies goes for the Mutated Plague Cultists. Putting on a Plague Cultist champion, giving them War Chant, that's a good option for them just for added output. Or a Plague Champion with Ring the Bell to give them essentially fast to get them into combat sooner. Next unit is the Mutated Plague Brothers. 5 of them in the squad, quality 3, defense 4. These come with fast, mutations, and putrid. Heavy claws for 2 attacks apiece at AP1, and you can upgrade them with wings to give them ambush and flying. Now, same thing for the destroyers applies to this. Ambushing with this unit, dropping them behind the enemy army, and you already have fast, you're going to be able to get into combat with whatever you dropped near. But what if I told you you could make these even faster? Take off the wings, we're not going to need them. Put on a Plague Champion, put that Plague Champion on a bike to make them fast, and then ring the bell to add another 4 inches to the charge, giving this unit a 20-inch melee threat range. You use the Mutated Plague Brothers to do your multiple attacks. Maybe with mutations they're going to get rending or AP plus 1, making them AP2. And then the Plague Champion, you can use this guy as like the just in case heavy armor piercing melee. going with either Energy Fist or a Heavy Scythe to give them Deadly 3. Next are the Greater Plague Mutated. 3 of them in the squad, quality 3, defense 4, fast, mutations, toughness 3, and putrid. 3 heavy claws for 4 attacks apiece at AP 1 with no upgrades. So there's no ambush option, but you can do the same thing you could do with the Plague Champion on a bike, giving them a 20-inch threat range, or just on their own, 12 attacks at AP 1 on a fast, mutated platform. It's not bad at all. Next unit is the Mutated Plague Destroyer, and it's only a single model. Quality 3, defense 4, ambush, mutations, toughness 6, and putrid. Comes with 6 attacks at AP 1 with a dual mutated claw that you can switch out for 3 attacks at AP 1 with a mutated gun for 6 attacks at AP 1 at 24. Now, I'm a big fan of meat missiles, the set it and forget it melee units, and that is what the Mutated Plague Destroyer is. 145 with ambush, mutations, and putrid. It's cheap enough to just put it on the board, aim it towards the enemy, and just let it go. Let it run into the enemy, cause some damage, cause some havoc, maybe break some things along the way, and then if it dies, it's only 145 points. It's cheap enough to be kind of a throwaway unit. Then the last multi-model unit are the Plague Bikers. Quality 3, defense 3, 3 of them in the unit. Fast, toughness 3, and putrid. Come with 3 twin heavy rifles, 2 shots, AP1 24, 3 heavy pistols, 1 shot, 12 inches, AP1, and close combat weapons for 2 attacks apiece. You can do the Sergeant upgrade, where you can give them a plasma pistol, the different swords, and a fist. You can switch all of the heavy pistols out for heavy rifles, and then 1 heavy rifle you can put a flamer, plasma rifle, or a fusion rifle. No real melee options other than the Sergeant with the power fist, or you could put on a Plague Champion on a bike, give them whatever weapons. Mostly this is going to be used for harassing fire. As it stands, you get 6 shots at 24 with AP1. You're going to want to go ahead and switch out the pistols for the heavy rifles to make it 9 shots. And then maybe a plasma rifle or a fusion rifle if you need a little bit heavier punch. That one's up to you. Now we're down to the vehicles and monsters. We start off with the Plague APC, quality 3, defense 2, fast, impact 3, toughness 6, transport 11, and putrid. Transport 11 means it can carry up to 11 wounds of models, and whatever heroes you attach, they only ever count as 1. So you can put in 3 destroyers and a destroyer champion. You can put in 10 Plague Brothers and a Plague Champion. You could even fill this thing up with zombies if you really wanted to. And then Impact 3, these are your close combat attacks for your APC. You only get these when you charge. You get 3 attacks, they hit on a 2, and the enemy makes their normal armor save. So these type of vehicles, they don't really belong in close combat. Comes with a Storm Rifle, 3 shots, AP1 at 24. You can upgrade it with a Heavy Rifle with a Flamer mod, a Rapid Heavy Rifle, and a Shred mod, a Rapid Heavy Rifle and a Fusion mod, a Rapid Heavy Rifle and a Plasma mod, a Storm Rifle, Rot Volley Gun, Heavy Machine Gun, or a Havoc Missile, and you can give it a Spiked Ram for 2 more impact, and a Dozer Blade for Strider. And Strider's there to ignore difficult terrain, so if you play on a lot of terrain on your board that is difficult, for 10 points, that Strider is going to make a big difference. Now for your APCs, I would just suggest keeping it cheap, using them for what it's intended for. The APC get your troops to where they need to go, and the troops that pile out, those are going to be the real damage that this APC is going to do. Next unit is the Plague Tank, quality 3, defense 2, fast, impact 6, toughness 12, and putrid. Comes with twin laser cannons and twin heavy machine guns. You can replace those twin laser cannons for Plague Mortars, Rapid Auto Cannons, or a Demolition Cannon. Again, there's my favorite, the Rapid Auto Cannon, 6 shots at AP2, but the Demolition Cannon, AP4, Blast 6 and Indirect. If the enemy's running large squads of heavily armored stuff like Battle Brothers, this gun will just wipe them off the board. You can replace the twin heavy machine guns with twin plague sprayers, twin entropy guns, or twin laser cannons. So if you really wanted to, you can keep your first twin laser cannons, strap on 2 more twin laser cannons, giving you 4 shots at 36 inches, AP3, and Deadly 3. And then you can upgrade it with all the other add-on guns that we saw in the APC, a spiked ram for Impact 2, and dozer blades for Strider. So normally at the point level that I play, having one of these tanks at 545 to start off with, it's kind of a big investment. So you want to have this make big impacts on the field. So for that, I would say Demolition Cannon for wiping out large, heavily armored squads, or the Rapid Autocannon for everything else. But if you're playing a larger game and you know the table's going to be full of vehicles, I would say keep the twin laser cannons and maybe strap on another pair of twin laser cannons. Just make this thing an anti-tank monster. Next unit is the Plague Heavy Tank. Quality 3, Defense 2, Fast, Impact 9, Toughness 18, Transport 11, and Putrid. So we took the Plague tank, bolted the Plague APC to it, and then strapped on a lot of laser cannons and heavy machine guns. Now you have all the bolt-on options and the spiked ram and dozer blade. So again, the point level that I play, 910 points. Up here, I can't even take it because the validation of the army is broken. But if you're playing a larger game, absolutely go for it. Move forward with the quad laser cannons to blast apart tanks, twin heavy machine guns, and one of the bolt-ons. Just strap another heavy machine gun on there for 9 shots at AP1 for anti-infantry work. And then Transport 11, bring whatever evil thing that you can strap into it. Next unit is the Plague Drone. Quality 3, Defensive 2, Fast, Impact 3, Putrid, Regeneration, Strider, and Toughness 6. So even though it's only Toughness 6, Putrid, Regeneration, and Defense 2, this thing is a tanky beast. Comes with a Meat Grinder for 5 attacks with Rending. You can replace the Meat Grinder with a Twin Plague Sprayer or a Heavy Plague Launcher. So with all the tanky rules on here, I would definitely like to have this thing up front and mingling with the enemy. So I'd keep on the Meat Grinder with the Impact 3. Just use this thing like an evil, stinky lawnmower. Next unit is the Plague Hauler. Quality 3, Defense 2, Fear of 1, Putrid, Regeneration, and Toughness 6. So again, we have the same tanky abilities here. Comes with a Missile Pod, 1-shot AP2, Deadly 3, and Lock-On, a Heavy Fusion Rifle, 1-shot AP4, Deadly 3 at 18 inches, Demonic Teeth, 3 attacks AP1, and a Stomp, 2 attacks AP1. So the Plague Hauler is going to be focused on moving forward and firing at enemy vehicles or enemy elite troops that have tough, and then if anything charges it, you're going to have 5 attacks AP1, on top of being a tanky little bug. Plague Hauler, solid choice. Next is the Plague Infernal Brute. Quality 3, Defense 2, Fear of 2, Toughness 12, and Putrid. Comes with 2 hammers, 2 attacks apiece at Blast 3, Stomp, 4 attacks AP1. You can replace one of the hammers with a Missile Array, 4 shots AP2, Lock-On at 30. You can replace one Brute Hammer with a Super Heavy Fusion Rifle, Twin Heavy Machine Gun, Heavy Reaper Cannon, Heavy Plasma Cannon, or Twin Laser Cannons. You can replace any of the hammers with a Brute Flail, 4 attacks AP1 with Rending, a Brute Axe, 2 attacks AP2 Deadly 3, or a Brute Fist, 4 attacks AP4. And if you take a Brute Fist, you can strap on a Heavy Flamer or a Storm Rifle. So for the Brutes, I like to leverage that Fear of 2 and the Toughness of 12. That means I like to get them right up in the enemy's face and start beating on it. So I normally like to go right for the Brute Fists, because if you have the option to, there's no point to not swing AP4. You're already 330, might as well go 390. Making it an excellent close combat platform, but if you feel the need to strap a weapon to it that has some range, I would say go for the Heavy Reaper Cannon or the Twin Laser Cannon to do some anti-vehicle work. Then last vehicle we have is the Plague Fiend. Quality 3, Defense 2, Fear of 2, Regeneration, Toughness 12, and Putrid. 4 attacks with Rending, 8 attacks AP1, and an additional 4 attacks AP1. You can replace that steel tail, that 8 attacks AP1, with dual maul cutters, giving 6 attacks AP3. And you can replace the tail and the claw with twin fiend autocannons, 8 shots AP2 at 36, or the twin ecto cannon, 4 shots AP4, blast of 3. So once again, autocannon is the best all-round heavy weapon. 8 shots AP2. If you don't know what you're going to be fighting against and you want this thing to be ranged, I would go with the autocannon. But if you know you're going to be fighting squads of heavily armored stuff, 4 shots AP4, blast of 3. That gun is just rude. Or you could just keep it melee to leverage your fear of 2. I would switch out the tail with the dual maul cutters just to get the AP3. This way you are going to be cutting through stuff instead of bouncing off of it with just AP1 and fishing for 6s with rending. Then the last unit in the army list is the Plague Crab Walker. Quality 3, defense 2, fear of 3, so it is very scary. Regeneration, toughness 18, and putrid. 2 shots from a battle cannon, AP2 blast of 3. 4 shots AP1 with a Reaper cannon. 4 attacks AP3 with a Crab Fist. 8 attacks with a Flail. 6 attacks AP2 with Stomp. You can replace the Reaper cannon with twin heavy machine guns for 6 shots AP1, or a twin laser cannon, 2 shots AP3 deadly 3. And you can replace the Crab Flail with a Havoc missile or twin heavy flamers. So this is a hybrid unit. We've got pretty decent shooting along with pretty darn good melee. So you can move forward and you can shoot with it, and then if anything charges you, you have the ability to deal with it. But if anything charges you, either it's made to kill you in melee or your opponent has no idea what they're doing, because there's no reason to charge into a crab walker. And then for the options, you're stuck with that battle cannon. So that battle cannon kind of defaults to anti-infantry work with its blast of 3, and if you want to leverage that for your shooting, I would go with a twin heavy machine gun, a twin heavy flamer. If you wanted to go vehicle hunting, then it's Havoc missile and twin laser cannon. And then at 930 points, like I said with the other big stuff, these are made for larger point games. So that is it for the Plague Disciples or the Havoc Brothers in Grimdark Future. So now we're going to take everything that we talked about in this army list, and we're going to head out to the garage and have ourselves a little game where the Plague Disciples are going to be fighting against the Blessed Sisters. I'll see you out there. Welcome out to the garage, everybody. This week we have on the table the Plague Disciples, who are going to be played by the Dredged. So what do we have in this army list? We have a Plague Champion who has the regeneration ability with 20 Plague Zombies. We have 2 squads of 5 Plague Brothers. They each have one of the Plague Sprayers in the unit. We have a Chosen Champion back there with a unit of 6 Chosen. The Chosen has the Ring the Bell ability, giving that unit fast. He has the Deadly 3 Scythe, which is this giant axe over here. And then the squad has 2 Power Fists inside of it. We have a squad of 3 Destroyers that have the scythes and the putrid, pistol, whatever they are, the 6-inch blast weapons, led by a Destroyer Champion who has another great scythe. So they all have Ambush and Putrid. And then we have a Brute. Oh, wait, and I forgot he's a Caster 3 as well. And then we have a Brute back here in the back. It has 1 fist, and then it has the auto cannon for 6 shots at AP2. Let's see who they're playing against this week. This week they're fighting against the Blessed Sisters, the same list that we had 2 weeks ago. We have 3 squads of Fanatic Sisters, all led by the High Sisters that have war hymns. We have 6 Biker Fanatics over here with a Celestial Sister giving them war hymns. And then we have an Assault Walker back here, all decked out for close combat, and 2 Barebone Exosuits just to give us that 200-point filler. So this is our board this week. We have a couple patches of difficult terrain. All of the trees that are there are going to be impassable, but these we can move. And then in the middle, we are going to have like an abandoned or wrecked research facility surrounded by
trees. It has been left in the forest. People were doing nefarious things and promptly got it blown up. So we're going to roll for objectives and see who goes first. Uncle C is going to be playing the Drowned, and I'm going to be playing the Sisters. And the Sisters are going to get a 5 to see who goes first. And there's a 5, another 5, and a 2. So the Sisters are going to go first. So that means I get to roll to see how many objectives. Oh, we are going to have 5 objectives on the field. We'll be right back. So here's our objectives. We got 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2. Now it's time for us to deploy, and we will be back shortly. So for deployment over here, we got some zombies all the way out here on the flank. We got the Plague Disciple Brothers, and then we got the Brutes there, Disciples and Chosen. And then for the Sisters on this side, we have Fanatics, Exosuit, Fanatics, Bikers, Fanatics, Exosuit, and then in the middle, the Assault Walker has scouted up to right there in the middle. So, Sisters are going to take turn number 1. First activation for the Sisters. We got this Exosuit. It is just going to right there. First activation for the Plague Brothers, or Plague Disciples. It's kind of... Why do we call them Disciples instead of Brothers? Because they're in the Havoc Brothers list. I don't know. My brain has a mental block there. But the Plague Boys are going to go there and fire into that Exosuit. So we got 4 shots at AP1. Hitting on a 3 for 2 hits. AP1 pushes the Exosuit to a 4-up save. She's going to be good. Our next unit here is this Exosuit. Again, not going to go the full 12, just boop, right there. Same idea as the other side. Those are going to go up on the hill and then be able to draw a line over here. Everything's so tight to that Exosuit. 4 shots again on a 3. 3 hits, saving on a 4. Takes 1 movement. Dropped it to 5. This unit of Fanatic Sisters moving forward to right there. Unit of Veterans moving up the hill. Next unit of Fanatics to there. Big, blah, big. Go back. Go back. Blig. Jesus Christ. I can't talk. Blig, blig. Blig, blig. Okay, let's try 3, 2, 1. Big Plague Chungus is going to move forward to about there, and then is going to open fire on that Assault Walker. So the Brutes fire and hitting on a 3. Oh, we got 4 hits. So AB2 sends the Assault Walker to a 4, but with cover, we go back down to a 3. Still takes 2, but with regeneration. Takes 1. So the big suit goes from 9 to 8. So next up, we're going to be the Bikes, and they are going to do a bunch of wiggling through here. So because of the difficult terrain, they can only go 8, and they end up there, which means they could shoot, but there's enough slop in the way that guy's going to not be able to be seen. And then last activation for the Plague Disciples on turn number 1, because it's their last unit, we are going to have the Zombies shambling forward. Like that. So the last 2 things the Sisters had to activate are the Assault Walker and this squad of girls here. And because the terrain is so thick here, the Assault Walker is not going to be able to charge. So what the Assault Walker is going to do is just kind of waddle over this direction. And then we're going to have these girls, again, go through difficult terrain this way. Like that. So at the end of turn number 1, the Fanatic Sisters are pushing forward across the entire board. The center of the board looks like it's going to be a complete melee hole. And then the Plague Disciples are being a little bit more cautious, moving up slowly, choosing where to engage. Moving on to turn number 2. So the Plague Disciple ambushers have showed up 9 inches away from the Fanatic Bikers and this whole mess in the middle. The Plague Disciples get the first activation. So first activation of the turn, this is no surprise. Ha! They're going to charge into these bikes here. But before we get to combat, there's going to be some spells getting thrown around. So what is going to happen is the Plague Caster is going to dig down deep and then throw a Rot Wave into that unit of Fanatics on foot, putting 2 extra points into it, so it goes off on a 2, which does. So AP2 goes right through the armor, saving on a 6, saving 1, and then the squad has regeneration. Oh, they only lose 1. Cool. So for the squad, it is 5 attacks, AP4, Deadly 3, hitting on a 3. They all hit. Saving on a 6. Failed all 5. No regeneration, so that's just 5 dead bikes. Leaving 2 left, we got the Celestial Sister and 1 Biker Fanatic. The Biker Fanatic is going to be hitting on a 5. 1 hit at AP2. And then the Celestial Sister, 4 attacks at AP2, but these hit on a 3. For 2 more. Saving on a 5. 1 guy takes 2 wounds, but they are putrid on a 6. For 1. So the Fanatic Sisters definitely lost combat, but they're going to stick around. So after all that silliness, it started like this and ends like that. So the Sisters didn't like that much. This unit of Fanatics over here, they're going to charge in like that. Starting off with the High Sister, 4 attacks, hitting on a 4. 4 hits. Then the rest of the Fanatics hitting on a 5. And with those 5 6s, that's another 5 hits from Furious. So starting off with the first 4 hits, saving on a 5. Ooh, they're going to take 4. But remember, Putrid, we're going to do that at the end. And then with War Hymns and Frenzy, all these are AP3, saving on a 6. We got a couple in there. Putrid. Well, there's 4. So let's see here. 3 wounds apiece. So we got 1, 2, 3 of the Destroyers, and then the Destroyer Champion takes 2. He's down to 4. Destroyer Champ fights back. Hey, 2 6s, even though he's fatigued. He hits. Now 6. Save 1. Regen. Fail. Morale test for the Destroyer Lord. He's going to pass. So it goes from this to that. This unit of Plague Boys use the difficult terrain to get down the hill, and then they are going to fire at this squad here. So all their heavy rifles and the Plague Sprayer are going to fire. The Plague Sprayer is a black dice. So we got 1 rifle and 1 Plague Sprayer hit. So if the 1 rifle goes to 6, fail, regen, passes. Then for the Plague Sprayer, 1 save, no regen because it is poison, so they lose 2. Pew pew. So over here with these sisters, it is now my time to activate, and I'm going to go ahead and activate them. And instead of being truly ruthless and charging in there, they are going to move back a hair and cover that objective. Then the unit of the elite veterans, they are going to get off the hill. Then they are going to fire their pistols into that sister squad. So here's all their shots. Everything's hitting on a 2 because they're chosen veterans, and then the veteran champion has the plague spewing pistol. So hitting on a 2. For 2 misses out of all that, though. So the plague pistol saving on a 5. Failed all 3. And then the regular pistols on a 6. Failed all 4. Regeneration. Saves 1. So they lose 6. Morale test on a 4. They're going to fail, but they are fearless. They still fail. So we go from this to this with the dreaded stunned marble. The unit of Fanatic Sisters under that building there, they're going to move forward to the objective. Like that. Big Plague Chungus, he's going to use his little feetsies to go through there. Difficult terrain, that's as far as he can get. And then he's going to want to shoot at the Fanatics. 6 shots on 3. 5 hits. Saving on a 6. Save 1. Regeneration. Save another, so we lose 3. Beep, beep, beep. This exosuit sister, she's just going to tuck herself into that difficult terrain. It's still on the objective. These guys are going to move forward 6 and then fire into that tree line. On a 3. Ooh, ooh, ooh! Even the reliable. Ooh. What have you done to piss off the dice gods today?
Said no to him.
And just what's going on in the background, the Lord of the Dead over here. Everything that's dying is going on this board and this board. He's setting up a 2-table game. They'll have to tell me the rules on this one. I might make something like this happen. Next activation, the Sisters Assault Walker here. Slam. So we're going to start off with the stomps, hitting on a 4 with Furious. Well, that turns into 2 hits. And then the rest of the attacks is the AP4 attacks on a 4. We got 4 hits, 2 with Furious. AP1 saving on a 3. Save him. AP4 on a 6. Save 2. Then it has Putrid. So it takes 4 wounds. The Plague Walker's stomps is going to hit 3 of them. And then the Walker Claw hits all 4. So the AP1s we're going to be saving on a 3. Save. And then the AP4 on a 6. This failed all 4 with a regeneration. 3. So final score ends up being 4 wounds caused to the Plague Walker, 3 wounds caused to the Assault Walker. Both have fear of 2. Plague Walker takes a morale test and it passes. So we move back an inch. This one goes down to 5. And the Plague Walker is down to 8. Zombies doing zombie stuff right up the side. Ended up right there. This exosuit, she is just going to move to there. And then last activation, these fanatic bikers, well, the Celestial unit or 1 fanatic friend, are going to shoot into the Plague and Destroyer champion. So the Celestial on a 3, there's 2 hits. And the fanatic on a 5, there's 1 hit, but with Devout, it turns into 2 hits. Saving on a 4. Who loses 2 with Putrid. Still loses those 2. Morale test. It passes. So the big guy down to 2. So turn number 2 is in the books. The Plague Disciples that were on the board have continued their march up the field, but the Destroyers that teleported in kind of jumped into a blender. But what they did do is hold the center line of the Sisters back for a turn to deal with that. So let's see what happens moving into turn number 3. Plague Chungus is going to charge into the Assault Walker. So we got 4 attacks AP1, 4 attacks AP4. The black are going to be the AP4 hitting on a 3. Whites are going to save on a 3. Blacks are going to save on a 6. We got 1 save there. And then regeneration on a 5. Saving 1 more. So the Assault Walker's down to 2. So we're going to do the same thing the other direction. The white dice are going to be the AP4. And the black dice are going to be the AP1s. Hitting on a 4. For that. Black save on a 3. White save on a 6. For that. Putrid. So it takes 4. The Assault Walker won combat, and the Plague Dude passes his morale test. Plague Walker's down to 4, Assault Walker's down to 2. So this unit of Fanatic Sisters, they're going to go underneath this building, but I'm going to set one on top just so we know where they are. And then move them right off camera. So just to show what's going on, the one that's on top there, that's where they actually are in the building, and that is the rest of the squad. We're going to pop out that side next turn, hopefully. And, yeah. Unit of Plague Disciples are going to move to there. Their little toes are going to contest the objective, and what they're going to do is they're going to fire at that unit of Fanatics right there. Hitting on a 3, and the black hits on a 2. Ooh, they all hit. Black save on a 5, the rest save on a 6. So we got 1 save. These 2 cannot be regenerated, so that's going to be 2, and then these 4 can. They only save 1, so for a total of 5 gone. Putting them right at the threshold. Morale test time. Fail, but they are fearless. Doesn't matter. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That brings them down to 5 left, but now they are stunned. The unit of Fanatic Bikes over here, they are going to charge him this direction. So their attacks, we're going to do the Celestial Superior. That's going to be 4 hits. And then the Fanatic Sister, 1 hit. Saving on a 5. Save 2. He's got 2 left with Putrid. Oh my god! Okay, remember how I said you pissed off the dice guys? What did you do?
I made him happy.
Okay, there we go. The Lord of the Dead, keep him happy. So 2 attacks back. 2 hits. Saving on a 6. Heck! So the Fanatic is dead, leaving us with the Celestial Superior. Time for a morale test. And she passes. So this one's gone. Whoop. This one's hurt.
Don't drink it, right?
At 3 wounds left. Next activation, the veterans are going to charge into that exosuit. Everybody hits on a 2, and the blacks are AP4. That many. So I kind of screwed things up. I'm just going to throw some dice. That's going to be the end of that suit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's it. One of those is supposed to be deadly 3, but it did not really matter. So we're going to unpin here. This guy's going to charge in there. So we're looking at some spells here. First, we're going to do Plague Curse on that Assault Walker. Put an extra point into it. It goes off on a 3. And it does. Saving on a 6. Fail. 3 damage with regeneration. That's not enough. Boom. Then Muscular Atrophy on that squad of Fanatics. It's going to go off. Blast a 3, saving on a 5. Fail all 3 with regeneration. Fail all 3. 2 attacks in melee on a 6. There's 1 6. Saving on a 6. Fail. So at the end of this one guy's turn that only has 2 wounds left, this happens. Kaboom. Next activation for the sisters, we're going to unpin here. And then more zombies to there. Last activation for the sisters, this exosuit is going to hold. So at the end of turn number 3, the Plague Disciples have definitely found their teeth, throwing some magic and punching stuff in the mouth, overwhelming the Fanatic Sisters. Now they have a big brick of zombies threatening one objective, and all of their veterans threatening the other. Let's see what happens in turn number 4. First activation of turn 4, the zombies are finally going to get in there. They're going to end up like that. 40 attacks hitting on a 5. Okay, we're going to go from this to that many hits. 11. And then the Plague Champ. For 4 more. So the Plague Champions were poisoned. Loses 3 right there. And then the rest on a 3. Loses 3 there. So, pop. And the zombies take that objective. So next activation, these Fanatics here, remember, they're under the building right here. They are going to into Plague Daddy. They're going to end up like that. So 12 attacks are going to hit on a 5 with Furious. 4 attacks are going to hit on a 4 without Furious. Let's see what happens. So we got that many hits. These 2 6s give us more hits. The whites are going to be AP3. The blacks are AP2. So whites need 5. Blacks need 4. For that many to go through. And then Putrid. Saving 2 there. But still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's enough. This fat boy goes boo. Next activation, that unit of Disciples is going to hold and fire into those 2 there. Hitting on a 3 and then a 2 with the black dice. There you go. Saving on a 6 and a 5. Hey, they saved all those. 1 Fanatic left, so regen, fail, and then the third one just goes through. Morale test, fail. So what we end up with is 1 dead, 1 wound. And she's stunned. She's not fearless, so she didn't get the roll. Next activation for the sisters, they're going to do the only thing they can do and just charge in here. Maybe we will do some damage. Attacks. Black is the high sister. two hits. There's 2 fails. Attacks back from the brothers. They all hit. Attack from the champion, hitting on a 2. It hits. AP 4s. Fail. AP 1s. 1 save. The deadly 3. Hey, it passes. So regens. 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. Those 2 go right through. And then the other 3 kill the girls. So we kill 2 here, and then the 2 that failed regen, and then the other 3 kill her off. And then with their 3-inch wiggle, we won combat. Boop, 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 boop. Mr. Plague Champion Destroyer is going to charge in there and throw some spells. Throwing spells first, we're going to do Rot Wave on a 4. There we go. AP 2. Save 1. Regen. Don't save any of them, so there goes 5. Now the big guy's melee attacks. 2 hits. On a 6. Fail. So I got 1 Fanatic Sister left. 3 damage with each attack, so she has to do regen. And she fails, so that means the other one cleaves the last Fanatic Sister, Master, High Sister right in half. So yeah, from the spell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cleavered. Last activation for the sisters. The only thing they can do is she's going to recover and promptly crap her pantaloons. So at the end of the game, don't mind them, they're dead. So at the end of the game, we have Plague Disciples, Plague Disciples, Plague Disciples, Plague Disciples, Plague Disciples for a 5-0 victory. So that is how the Plague Disciples play. The Blessed Sisters were not able to break through their toughness, and with some good key rolls for the Plague Disciples, they were able to essentially table the Fanatic Sisters. Even if we ignored the back 2 objectives and just played the 3 in the middle, it was still a 3-0 victory for the Plague Disciples. Does that mean that they are one of the best factions in the game? Not necessarily. It is mostly dependent on the way dice work out. The Fanatic Sisters also bounced in a few key areas, and the Plague Disciples just continued tearing through their ranks. But in 2 weeks, we're going to be having another power-armored opponent for the Plague Disciples. We're going to bring out the Wolf Brothers, who will be played by Space Bears. So if you're looking forward to that, we'll see you in 2 weeks. But that will do it for us for today out here in the garage. I hope you all are having fun playing OPR wherever you are, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.